Thank you so much for meeting with me today. I'm sorry that we can only meet for a few minutes as I have a building committee meeting at 11 o'clock. It's 10:30 now. I need to give them some budget figures.
That's okay. I only had to get up at 4:30 in the morning and drive 5 hours to get here after the architect called me late last night. So what can you tell me about your vision for the project?
Well, as you know, we are building a new auditorium. Do you know how much one would cost?
Not right now. I need to ask you a few questions. How is the auditorium programmed? What I mean is, what kind of events do you want to hold in there?
Auditorium-type events.
Okay. Can you be more specific?
Well, we do some events during the day and some at night. And we also do some on weekends.
Okay. That's a start. What is the nature of these events?
Oh, they are usually pretty good. Or so I hear. So how much is this auditorium going to cost?
Well, based on all of the detailed information you've given me so far, I'd say about $80 bazillion.
Oh. That is too expensive. Can we do it for less?
We can certainly try. How many people do you think the auditorium will need to hold?
Well, we have to be able to hold the entire school for assemblies, so I guess a lot. And I guess the law says we have to accommodate some wheelchairs, isn't that right?
Don't worry. I can help the architect with that. How many people is a lot?
Can't you tell me? You're the consultant.
I can assume about 1,200 seats.
That's too many.
Then how about 500?
I think we need more than that.
Okay. How about 800?
Maybe. Do you think we can afford that many seats? I know seats can be expensive.
We will just assume that 800 seats is okay for now. What can you tell me about the overall budget for the project?
Well, that is what we are meeting about in a few minutes. Can't you give us some idea what all this will cost?
Sure. $80 bazillion.
Well, I guess we will have to put that in as a placeholder for now. Hopefully we can do it for less.
Hopefully.
So they told me that we will also need state-of-the-art lighting and sound systems. Oh. And the English teacher told me that we will need something called a rigging system. So we budgeted $100,000 for everything. But the school board thinks that's way too much. Can we do it for less?
Sure. My uncle has a barn. I can get some coffee cans and light bulbs.
And my school technology administrator said something to me last week about something new called LEDs, and that they would be a lot cheaper than regular lights. We should get those since they're cheaper.
Well,
we should get them if they're going to save us money.
They are not really cheaper, per se.
Don't they last longer?
Yes, they do, and they do save on power consumption, but they can be expensive to buy.
We should get them.
Okay. Whatever. We'll look into that.
So I understand we will need a stereo system and some speakers in the auditorium. What kind should we get? My son is an assistant manager at the Best Buy in Harrisburg, and I think he could get us some really good deals. Would you mind talking with him and letting him know what we should get?
I think we will need something better than the typical sound system you have in your home.
Are you saying my son sells crap?
No, of course not. Not at all. It's just that the typical equipment you need for an auditorium sound system you can't really get at a Best Buy.
This is sounding more and more expensive. So what kind of speakers would we need?
That depends on what kind of programming you have planned for the auditorium and the actual design of the space. But the speakers are only one part of the whole system.
What kind of programming does the auditorium need? Will we need a computer for that? We can't afford any new computers for the auditorium. So, the English teacher told me that we should get a motorized rigging system because she called a couple of companies named ETC and Vortec. and they told her that all the other kinds are very dangerous, and that children will die if we don't have a motorized system. So that is what we want. Can you do that, so that the kids won't get killed, because that could be a big problem for us?
If that is what you want. But motorized rigging systems are a little pricey. We will have to develop some budgets, see how the stage is laid out, and get a sense of what would work best with your programming.
Well, we don't have time for all that. And I think I already said we can't afford any computers in the auditorium.
Of course. We'll figure something out. Let's get back to my original question. What kind of things do you want to do in the auditorium? Do you want to do plays, musicals, band concerts, have guest speakers, study halls?
I think so. That all sounds good. But I don't have time to go to many events myself.
Which kind of event do you do more of?
We do all of them all the time, I think. And there's a big musical in the spring. The whole town comes out for it. This year we are doing Les Miserables. My daughter is singing in it. She's very good.
You must be very proud. So, you do full production musicals as well?
What do you mean?
I mean, you put on big plays with live musicians, singers, and dancers, a lot of scenery, nice costumes, and elaborate lighting?
Oh yes, all the time.
How many times a year?
I'm not really sure. You'd have to talk to our band director about that. But he's on sabbatical in Austria until the end of the summer.
Would we be able to meet with him sometime, as well as the English teacher, and anyone else who would be using the auditorium?
Well, the architect says you can't talk directly with them, because they will just tell you that they want all kinds of things that we can't afford to give them. So you will just have to tell us what we need.
Okay. Can you give me any sense at all what you think you might want?
I don't understand. I thought that was your job. Can't you just tell us what we need?
Well,
my meeting starts in a few minutes and I really need some numbers. Can't you give me any idea how much all this is going to cost?
Sure. Between $500,000 and $40 million.
Well, like I said, we will put that in as a placeholder for now. I hope you can come up with something better. We start construction next week, so we really need to start thinking about this.
We will do our best, I promise you.
By the way, if you don't mind me asking, what are you being paid to do this?
Obviously not enough.